in the rice fields because it smells nice. And it's quiet. Korean rice. It smells sweet. There's a sweetness to it. And I haven't exercised in several days besides walking around Seoul. So yeah, let's do Kung Fu together, huh? I have followers calling me Master. Kung Fu Master. Master Miyagi, actually, is what they call me. Miyagi. Miyagi-Do. Miyagi-Do. But yeah, let's walk through a little sequence that is surprisingly invigorating and a good workout. Want to take a wide base and get down as low as you can and try to get these knees out, and instead of out here and getting down low, you want it. This is like a meditative pose. And get these knees pushed out. You're gonna feel this if you're not flexible, and I'm not flexible, so I need to stretch my, what is it called, groin muscle, so that I can do this split and sit comfortably for over 3 minutes to meditate, also to fight. So you can hit this pose, and you, of course, you're using some muscles here, but mainly I'm just trying to stretch this muscle out, this muscle here. Feet a little bit wider. And hit that pose. And hit that pose. And you want to stretch this muscle out too. And stretching this muscle out is important because if you don't, you end up a posture like this. Lumbar thrombosis is what it's called. A lot of girls, you look at them and like, do they got a trunk? Do they got a nice ass? Or do they have lumbar thrombosis? The hip, where their posture is like, all right? If a girl has a good posture, she has this muscle flexed out or flexible, stretched out. Good posture and has nice trunk, right? I don't have a big ass at all, so feel free to talk shit. But yeah, you want to stretch those muscles out, stretch this hamstring muscle out, hit this pose. I'm not getting low enough at all. You should be able to get like really down there. Really down there. And just doing this back and forth, stretching out your muscles. Down here. This is really good for posture. And then hit him with one of these. You end up with that pose, you just feel like really invigorated. I don't know why. Like in the core. And like I gotta sit here and catch my breath now just from doing that. And I wasn't even going fast. And it's nice to catch my breath here because it's like filled with the sweet aroma of Korean rice fields that are about to be harvested next week. Join me for that. I'm gonna watch how they harvest these communities. This field wasn't here last year. It was like a guy's beautiful garden that he had like all these different plants and trees. I was a little sad. That's why I walked down here. I wanted to come sit in his garden. But I can see, you know, he was like, well, I'm gonna grow rice here instead. So they turned this into a big rice field. I think his garden was right here, like right where I'm standing. All right, let's do another one. And you want to get into that from this pose. And really, you're gonna feel it here when you go. Just doing that 3 times in a row, it's like, whoa. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's just so beautiful to look at this rice field. It's so perfectly done. It's not done by hands, it's done by machine now. They have these tractors that lay down the, let's show you. Isn't it so beautiful? This is how you feed people. A lot of people. And what they do is they're planted in bundles. Do you see this? It's like tightly knit bundle. And like you sit here and meditate on life. This is how humans need to be. You need to have your bundles of like 20 or 30 people. This is like 30 individual rice. And that's what we need. We need little small communities of like 20 and 30 people. Because individually, they plant it in bundles because individually, you know, if you're divided and isolated, you're weak. You're prone to bugs and predators and just wind giving you an issue. But if you had little communities of 20 and 30, you're stronger. And so these bundles of rice is something to think about. And you can see the rice all leaning because the seeds are heavy. Ooh. So the rice is in here. So this is like a mouthful of rice right here. Mouthful, a mouthful, a mouthful. This is like a dinner right here for one person. Oh, look at this bug. I wonder if he's keeping the rice clean from pests. I don't think he's eating the rice. I think he's keeping it clean. But yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be a rice farmer. And all you do is put up stones to make a terrace. You got levels, 1, 2, 3, and the water stays. It doesn't run away, and basically plant in April. And you don't have to do any work until October. And then you harvest all the rice, and you're straight. This is how Asians people used to live for thousands of years. They worked 2 months in the springtime and then 2 months in the fall time harvesting, collecting the rice, and then bagging it up and storing it to survive all through the winter months, all through the year really. Now the problem was greedy people became owners of all the land. So like if we were talking about like even just 200 years ago, all this would be owned by one person. And then there would be, just like there is now, there'd be 300 people living around here, much of them many different families. And then those 300 people working together by hand, they would plant each bundle of rice all through this whole field by 300 people. Each person maybe does like 50 feet by 50 feet, right? Times 300. This would be all done by people in like a week, over 3 or 4 days probably. And then they have to pay like 80% rent. So you collect all the rice, each person has planted, harvested, collected 10 bags of rice. A bag of rice can last a family for 3 months, we'll say. And each person has grown 10 bags of rice. So they made 30 months of rice for a family each year. And, there's only a need for a family to have like 6 bags of rice. So you have created like a surplus of 24 bags of rice that you can sell for clothes, other food, material to build a house, to live, to enjoy, buy cakes, make little gifts and presents. But then the Japanese colonized Korea. All right, the Japanese colonize it and say, you got to pay us 50% of what you grew. All right, so, okay, Koreans are like, fine. We still have the 6 bags of rice that we need to survive. And we'll give Japan 12 bags of rice. And then we'll be able to use the other 6 bags of rice for ourselves. But then the landowner's like, no, this is all my land. So you have to give that 6 bags of rice to me. And Japan eventually, over a couple years, increases the amount from 12 bags a year to 13 to 14 to 15 to 16, until people are like, wow, I'm growing 30 bags of rice a year, doing all the work on this land, and now I literally have like 3 bags of rice for my family to eat the whole year. And so now we're like starving pretty much. And that's what was happening. And eventually, I'm just talking about a small town like this with 300 people. Imagine you have a whole country. You have 1,000 towns, 10,000 towns like this of 300 people. So we have like 28 million people that are starving. and then you have like 1,000 people that own all the land. Um, allowing Japanese people or the Japanese government to take half of all the rice, and then the wealthy landowners that own all this land take the other 40% of the rice, and then there's 30 million people that have to survive on 10% of the rice that they themselves planted and grew. That's what was happening. I'm talking about this because I discovered my grandfather, who everyone in my family adores, and they tell me how much they adore him because apparently I have facial features and mannerisms and the way I talk or expressions, my facial expressions, just little meisms that aren't actually meisms. They're actually inherited from my grandfather because I remind my aunts and grandparents, or my grandparents are dead, but all my aunts and uncles from my dad's side, my grandfather, apparently I remind them of my grandfather so much that they just start crying like, my God, they see my grandfather in me. Or whatever my mannerisms. I just say, nah, or something, you know. They just start crying. No, grandfather, he reminds me so much of a grandfather. Oh my God, no, no, no. And apparently my grandfather was a great guy. He helped so many poor people. He adopted so many poor kids, like literally brought them out of the cold and the street and out of miserable poor families and gave them an education, a place to stay. In my grandfather, my grandpa's house, mansion that I'm sure he had. Um, and he was well loved, I think. Maybe he was like, I, I don't want to brag, but I do have that energy, I think. A lot of people are magnetically drawn to me always. They always want to talk to me. I'm approachable, apparently. Um, Even though I want to be alone all the time, always people are coming up to say hi and touching me. They always want to touch me in Brazil. I don't like that. Um, I like my space. I like my space because always people are coming up to me and wanting to touch me. I'm very OCD. I don't like to touch. They always want to touch, even like my handshake. I would rather, fist bump because I don't want to touch. I don't want to touch germs, blah, blah, blah. But people always want to. Anyways, but yeah, I found out, I always knew my grandfather was rich. And as a kid, they told me he loved to ice skate. And at some point, I believed that he was rich because he opened an ice skating rink. And, it was okay. I have an ice skating business. People come pay to use the ice skating rink. Okay, one could become decently wealthy. And then I found out, no, he wasn't like decently wealthy. He didn't become rich by opening Korea's first ice skating rink. He became rich because he owned one of Korea's biggest lakes. Like, there's not whole lot of lakes in Korea. Um, owned one of the biggest lakes that would freeze over, and he would ice skate on it because he had free time and free money to buy ice skates from the U.S. or wherever. And okay, so how big is this lake? Well, this lake is pretty big, and then he owned like 10 square miles on the lake. How much is 10 square miles? It's like 50,000 acres. Yes, he owned 50,000 acres during a time when Korea was forced to pay like 50% of everything that was grown to feed all the Japanese people in order for them to sell and go to war against all of Asia and all of America when Japan was imperializing, claiming to defend Asians from the West, but really just exploiting all of Asia as well, raping and pillaging all of Asia as well. So that's the problem with militant people who want to claim that they're defenders. They're usually often more so exploiters. So yeah, I was like, oh, grandfather was one of the top 0.1% landowners, and the 99% owned no land and were paying 80% taxes. And so everything they grew, if they were to grow 10 bags or 100 bags of food, they had to pay 80 and were left with 20. And so I've able to connect my ayahuasca journeys who've been telling me I need to wake up and join the fight for the right side. And I hear my grandfather screaming at me his regret that he didn't use his magnesium and heart that he had. Instead of just helping poor people, he should have joined poor people, redistribute the land. He should have took his 50,000 acres and allowed people to pay rent to own the land, right? Like, so that they would be able to keep what they grew and not have to pay rent to him. They could buy the land and own it, buy it by working it, right? So like each person would get one football field. It's like 300 football fields of grass, of rice fields here in this valley region. My parents' house is way up there. I don't know if you can see it. But down here in the valley is where the rice fields are. And there's like 300 football fields worth of rice. Each family would have one. And over the course of 10 years of working it, each family would own their football field of rice, that they would be able to keep more of it and not pay any rent to anyone. My grandfather is screaming at me during my ayahuasca ceremonies to wake up and fight for that, because he failed to do that. He was too pacifist. He didn't want to fight. He was just like, oh, let's just good vibes only. I can feel that energy. I'm talking about 1940s. He was saying, I know people are starving, but let's just focus on good vibes. Good vibes. Help who we can. Help the poor when we can. And he's screaming at me that he should have led the people in the revolt, because the revolt was inevitable when people are starving. The revolt is inevitable today, just like it was in 1940s. And he didn't join the fight. He did the fight when he should have. He had the power to. He was in position to. And he let someone else, someone who didn't have heart, who was full of desire to be loved, he let someone else lead the revolt. And that person became a monster, claiming to help the poor people, helping the poor people win a war. But when the war was over, he demanded that everyone worship him as their savior, as if he did all the fighting. And so he made all the North Koreans, he distributed the land as was necessary, but then he made them worship him as a god. And then they made him worship, they made the people worship his children. And if you're a child getting worshipped, you're a piece of it. You've done nothing. And so, like always, warlords become gods, and then their children become dictators that are little spoiled, privileged brats that don't truly care about the people. And then you create a prison. All the people become, instead of sharecropper slaves paying rent to landowners, they become sharecropper slaves paying rent to a dictator. My grandfather is screaming at me that he should have stepped up to help the people, to set up a government, a country that cares about the people, to avoid allowing a dictator to lead the revolt. So that's where I'm at now. I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, it's time to join the fight. Not to just throw myself in the front lines, but to lead us to a better world. One where people are awakened and no longer worship religions, no longer worship people. Everyone is taught to use their brains to critically think about what is needed for the best of everyone, including the best for the planet. So here I am asking everyone simple things like stop fucking buying all that shit you need to impress people. I'm on a walk right now because I was just arguing with my mom. She wants me to cut my beard and dress nice, and I'm like, I'm not going to. I'm not going to cater my life to making everyone think I look wealthy and clean and presentable. I'm not here to spend money, to work and spend money to partake in that consumerism, superficial bullshit. That's what's destroying the planet. All the clothes that you buy, all the desire to be respected by other people that you don't give a fuck about, that don't give a fuck about you. I don't care. That's what's driving you to pillage, to sell your soul. All the politicians that we hate, that are corrupted, they're all people that, just like all the people you walk by in the mall, they're all people who have sold their souls trying to impress a girlfriend that likes you because your fashion sense. What the fuck is that? I'd rather. I don't want to have kids at this point. I don't want to have kids in that type of world where I have to teach them to fucking go to a good college, get a good job, to buy a nice house, buy a nice car, buy nice clothes so that he can get a girlfriend, have more kids. You're destroying the planet. I'm not going to work my ass off to live that life and continue that sort of progeny. I'm going to fight to end all these wars, get everyone back to an agricultural, natural life where we don't need a bunch of shit. We can have computers, AI, robots build all our cell phones so that we can do our TikTok dances with each other, make jokes, laugh, put up our internet. But let's just live with nature. Can we? I mean, is this so bad where I'm at? Do you really need to work 12-hour days for your entire life? Going to the bar, drinking with your friends, watching football. I don't know. From what I can tell, everyone's depressed with that life. I want 300 friends to come join me. Come join me. Plant rice, plant our own healthy food that's not full of small hat people put toxins so that they can make money off of us when we need colon cancer medication and obesity medication. I want to eat healthy food, do kung fu together, and yeah, make lots of love. No concept of marriage and slavery to a spouse. No slavery to our individual nuclear families, our kids. We can raise our kids together as a community. All 300 kids just taking care of each other. Right? And we're not out here all just making like 3 or 4 kids, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. We have machines to do all the planting. We don't need to make kids to do all the planting for us. I'll show you the machines that come do the harvesting. It's pretty cool. You have 80-year-olds doing all this, all with modern machinery. And it's very relaxing. That's all I can say. It's very peaceful. If this wasn't here, I wouldn't be able to spend a week with my parents screaming at me like I'm 7, trying to get me to dress how they want me to dress. Yeah, that's just my spiel for today, huh? I'm gonna finish my workout. Actually, I'm gonna do stretching today because I've been sitting in a plane and buses for like 4 days, and I haven't worked out at all, haven't stretched at all. But yeah, aren't these mountains beautiful? Madeleine Van Gie. Madeleine sounds French. There's wisdom in these mountains, you know, all these trees. There's life, spirits, energy here, you know, and just being around it, breathing the air that they exhale. You exhale carbon dioxide, they exhale oxygen, and you inhale it. All these rice plants, I'm inhaling their energy, their spirits, their vibrations. You don't get this when you're living in a concrete city. Living in the concrete cities, that's where depression comes, because you don't have access, proximity to these trees. And also, I got in an argument with my parents. My mom didn't like to hear that. I was like, you're wrong for cutting down all these trees, you know. These trees are why you move out to the nature. Why do you cut them all down? Just because you want to be down at the ground? You're cutting down the trees that bring good energy. But no, she's from a concrete society. She wants to concrete everything. There's the guy that I think owned all this land. I mean, had a garden here, right in this spot. There was a garden, and last year, beautiful, like meticulous. I was shocked that he cut it all down and planted a field. And now his garden, it looks like it's just a very small garden up there, the remains of it. Okay, I'm gonna do my workouts. Time to do my workouts. Where's a good place to perch this thing? hard to do. Why is my body so stiff? Ah. I have to get my dad to do this with me because my dad really needs it, I think. I think he's been going to the gym. I think the gym is really not good for old people. Those machines, the body does not move like robots. Those gym machines teach the body to move like robots, isolating muscles, and you don't learn how to connect all your muscles together. There's a new law in Korea. Runners can't be shirtless, men. A lot of men run jogging in the city shirtless, and they banned it. I don't know if that law applies here in the countryside. So I might get the cops called on me, I don't know. Or I might get someone doing this sign. This is the universal sign in Korea that I keep getting for breaking the rules. Just Korea's been turning into a fascist country. When I say fascist, I mean a bunch of rules meant to take away our freedoms. Rules that are meant to remind us that we are slaves. Whew, my body feels good. That was a good workout. All I did was like 7 sets of that movement that I was doing. And I'm like, I felt good. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of Kung Fu. If you want to join me for that, learn how to connect muscles and energy throughout your whole body instead of like a gym workout where you focus on single muscles. And I really think that's not good for your body or mind. I think you're training your body and mind to think robotically, individually. And it's bad. It's unhealthy. It makes your body strong but stiff and inflexible. And when your body is stiff and inflexible, your mind becomes stiff and inflexible, i.e., your mind gets stupid. And that's why you see a lot of gym goers. They think they're strong and spectacular, and then they do things like create podcasts and influencer accounts, and then they start talking, and you're like, this guy's an idiot. These gym bros, they're like, what are these leftists talking about? And they're like their brains are just stiff and inflexible. They can't see past the superficial, the deeper root causes of things. They're very prone to believing in bullshit propaganda. It's because they're just working isolated muscles and they can't think systematically, big picture, right? They don't think in a full body movement mentality, so they don't have the full picture mentality for complex, dynamic issues. So yeah, I think there's a reason people do Kung Fu in China. Like I'm talking about like old people. These people are not preparing to fight in an MMA cage. They do Kung Fu because it makes them smart. It helps them keep their body flexible and fit and healthy, and it helps keep their minds fit and flexible and healthy. Unfortunately, Korea was colonized, completely devastated by the Americans creating a war here. It wasn't just by accident. Americans backed wealthy landowners to prevent land redistribution, creating a situation where people had no choice but to revolt. It wasn't a war, an invasion, it was a revolt, a revolution, because people were starving. And America created that. It was the first project for the CIA and Mossad. After they were created in the late 40s, their first project was, let's see how we can fuck up Korea and put in our puppet president. There was a guy named President Ri, who was not selected by the Korean people. He was selected by US to do whatever the US wanted them to do, whatever the Jewish Christian banker corporations wanted Koreans to do. Mr. Ri did. And that's what the whole Korean War was about. And because of that Korean War, all Korean culture was pretty much destroyed, and all the Koreans were basically orphans of war. My parents' generation were basically orphans of war. And they had no idea about anything. Like, I picked a mushroom. It was a delicious, perfect, beautiful mushroom. I feel like you cannot do that. In their heads, they were like, 99% of mushrooms are poisonous. I'm like, that's not true. And they're like, yes, it is. I'm like, do you know Koreans were some of the biggest mushroom producers 100 years ago? There are thousands of varieties of mushrooms that are, and there are 1% of mushrooms that are poisonous. But to think that 99% of mushrooms are poisonous, you've been brainwashed by the Americans who don't want you feeding yourself, who don't want you to learn how to live off of nature. These mountains are filled, this is mushroom climate country. I just took a walk around my parents' house, just around the edge of my parents' house, and I found all these mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms. I found turkey tails. That's edible. And anyways, Koreans lost Kung Fu as well. We used to practice it as well. No one practices it here. I can't find any Kung Fu masters. But thankfully, I have the internet. I have Red Note. And there's lots of Kung Fu masters on Red Note showing the world how to exercise their minds and how to make their bodies and minds flexible. That's what intelligence is. People think, oh, this guy's really smart. He knows how to do X. Just because someone knows how to do X, whatever X is, really well, doesn't make them smart. They're just a nerd about X. Smart is when you're flexible. You know about X, but you can easily learn about Y. You can easily learn about Z because your mind is loose and flexible. So flexibility is true intelligence. Bamboo tree is amazing and strong, not because it's so stiff, but because it's so flexible. I love the sound of water trickling here. This is a good place to meditate as well. Oh, hello, kitty. Hello, kitty. Hello. Unfortunately, with this kitty. Oh, I'm sorry, kitty. Hello, kitty. Aren't you a beautiful orange cat? Are you the bus stop cat? Yeah, you are the bus stop cat. Mm-hmm. My mission is to come here every day and get you to understand that I'm a nice person and you can trust me. I agree that you shouldn't trust all humans. So I'll give you time to figure it out for yourself whether you can trust me. But yeah, I'm gonna come here and talk to you and pet you. Try to pet you one day. Um, maybe I'll bring you some snacks if that'll help you out. Looks like you've got someone feeding you snacks out here. Some kind old cat lady. I'll bring you some real food. Um, some like meat. I'll save you my scraps. But yeah, it's a beautiful home you got here. You got the water down here anytime you're thirsty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. You got the rice fields to catch any rice um, thieves, like mice and stuff. If there's ever any mice trying to thieve some of the rice, you're there, aren't you? And I'm sure you're small enough to go through the rice fields without harming the rice. Are there fishies down there? Do you eat fish? I'm sure there's lots of fish down there as well. All right. Let me leave you alone. I'll come back and say hi to you tomorrow. Try not to disturb your meditation, huh? All right. All right. See you later, bus cat. Bus cat in the Korean rice fields. She don't trust most people, but I'm gonna show her that I am trustworthy. It's a beautiful bird. Black and white. Yellow, black and yellow. Black and yellow, black and yellow. All right, if you're just tuning in, my name is Korean Jesus. Korean Jesus, who ain't got time for your shit. Korean Jesus is not the edamame. Look at this. These are edamame beans. You go to a Japanese restaurant in the US, order an appetizer of edamame, salted, and it's like $8-9 for like 10 of these. So each one is like $1. And curiously enough, I haven't seen edamame at Korean restaurants here. So I'm guessing these are gonna end up in the US. It's like shipped abroad to New York, LA, DC, whatnot. But this is what the edamame plant looks like apparently. My first time seeing it. I thought it was like something else. I thought it was just weeds in fact, but this is delicious edamame. I want to try to grow edamame in Brazil. It seems like it's almost harvesting time as well, which means it's a summer plant, which means Brazil might work out there. It just might. So I'm gonna go home right now, order edamame seeds, or maybe go downtown to the gardening store and see if they have any edamame seeds to plant. Not to plant here while I'm in Korea, because I don't think it's the season for it. It's fall. I'm a little late to the party. But to take back to Brazil and plant it just like this. Have a field of edamame plants. And how easy would it be to plant this in the backyard is what I wonder. And then have plenty of edamame to eat and maybe sell to the local restaurants. And maybe create a community that grows edamame. I'm gonna go look up and see the health benefits of edamame seeds or beans. Edamame beans that taste amazing to me. I love edamame. Salted edamame, just like, it's so fun to eat. It's like what if you could eat a bowl of edamame just by itself, freshly steamed and seasoned with salt, pepper, maybe a little bit of sesame oil, perilla oil. Here's another cat strolling my way. Beautiful. Calico? Yep, black, white, orange. A little bit of gray maybe. Beautiful. I'm just gonna stand still. Let her come to me. I don't wanna scare her. I know it's a her because 99 of Calicos, tricolor cats, are female. Most males are one or two colors. But 3 colors, that's pretty rare. Not rare, but that's pretty common for female cats only, not common for male cats. Aren't you beautiful? She's pretty close to me now. Wow, I love your colors. A lot of black and orange mixture there. Hello. Just on your morning walk or afternoon walk? It's nice to meet you. I'll call you. Oh, beautiful jump there. I'll call you Grace. You're very graceful and fearless. That's what I love about Kung Fu. It's exercise, but it's very graceful. And I guess the idea is to become graceful even in moments that are stressful. Moments where you would be afraid. And fear and stress causes people to not be graceful. And Kung Fu is really about learning to be graceful in everything. Let me teach you a little bit of Kung Fu with your hands. You can do to cultivate gracefulness, the energy, the vibration, the spirit of gracefulness. A lot of times when people are angry, men especially, they'll make a fist, right? Like, I'm so angry. Somebody is pissing off. Something is fucking up my routine. This is not graceful, right? It's not to say making a fist can't be graceful, but how you make your fist is the question. Do you just go, or do you go, right? This is gracefulness. This is something I've realized I do when I've allowed gracefulness to enter my body, especially during ayahuasca ceremonies. With the help of ayahuasca or magic mushroom, I find my hands doing this graceful movement. And I would just be looking like, why am I this all the time when I'm meditating with ayahuasca or magic mushrooms? Ooh, it's weird. This is very weird. What is this? I don't know what it is. I think it's candy. I think this is my favorite lettuce, but I've never seen it with these. Is that their seeds? I'm not 100% sure it's Genip. I am 80% sure. Because the ridges are a lot sharper than normal. Genip. Anyway. Oh, this guy's planting something now during the fall. But he's gonna plant. Or right now he's fertilizing the ground, or not water. No, it's fertilizer. No, it's both. This is stuff that I want to learn. I sit here and learn what he does. Looks like he's planting some sort of fruit vegetable tree. There's a guy camping over there in the distance at the lake. Oh, there's meditation over there. 안녕하세요. 뭐또? 안녕하세요. I don't know if he rarely sees people walking around with a camera. He was like, "We're gonna." I don't know enough Korean to explain. I'm just on live, admiring what you're doing. I want to go over there. Where there's Buddhist chanting. I think it's a Buddhist ceremony. Can you hear it? Nice home garden. Looks like lettuce. Lots of lettuce. I think that's Genip. Some sort of pumpkin or squash. Okay, so I need to... Is this an edible fruit? This is an interesting plant. What kind of fruit is this? So I guess there is a lot of fruits and vegetables to plant in the fall. These are newly planted vegetables. Interesting, they put a white powder on top of these baby plants. I don't know if that white powder is fertilizer or something to prevent pests. It's starting to get a little warm. I left the house, it was probably about 70 degrees, and now it's about 80 degrees, probably about 25 degrees Celsius, and now it's about 29 degrees Celsius. Red peppers. Koreans love spicy red peppers, originally from India, thousands of years ago. Here they have cows in a prison barn. I don't like that. I don't like it because it smells bad. And if it smells bad, that means the cows are not clean and out in the sun like they are in Brazil. In Brazil, the cows smell wonderful. They don't smell bad at all. It's because they're outdoors under the sun. These cows are barned up, basically in a prison. And it smells bad. And they got a dog chained up. It's probably the dog poop that smells bad as well. I don't like that. Korea, they chain up dogs because, like I said, I believe a lot of Koreans are orphans that, or war orphans that lost any sort of sense of humanity. Here's some bamboo. I want to cut down a bamboo and use it as a stick to practice kung fu with. Here's one that looks like somebody cut, but not all the way, because it was coming over here maybe, and then they, yeah. A little bamboo forest here. I think you can, I want to cut that one actually and then replant it at my parents' house. And create a bamboo forest up there. There's more bamboo. It's getting hot. I think this is a pumpkin as well here. All right, that's gonna end this live now. It's been an hour. Have no more battery. And I'm hot and I don't want to talk anymore.